Hello and welcome to another video in our Zero to Hero 40-day yoga challenge. Let's just get right into this one. I have a lot of activities planned in a short amount of time. The only thing I think that you'll need is a blanket, something to sit on. Yeah, that's it. Just one blanket. I think that's all we'll need. If you have a block, you might want that, but not necessary. Okay? So getting started in your centering posture. Maybe that's Vinyasa, child's pose, or maybe it's something else altogether, sitting cross-legged. Whatever posture works best for you where you can completely relax. Taking a few moments. Feeling heavy into the floor. And getting settled. Taking the next few moments to set an intention for your practice. There's so many benefits to yoga. Just picking one that resonates with you and holding on to that thought for a few moments. And take 3 slow, deep breaths through the nose. Really expansive breaths, getting a lot of oxygen to the muscles before we get going. And when all 3 deep breaths are complete, start to make your way all the way up and back to that first downward facing dog. Tucking the toes under, take all the time you need to get up and back to that big V. Maybe walking it out a little. And then send the feet forward all the way to the top of your mat, landing with the feet parallel, decompressing the spine. And then slowly ragdoll, one vertebra at a time, all the way up to standing. And we'll begin in Tadasana Mountain Pose. A few sun salutations to get started and warmed up. Here we go. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for flat back. Exhale, down, heading back through plank and lowering chaturanga. Inhale, up, and exhale, downward facing dog. Shoulders away from the ears. Pouring weight into the roots of the index fingers. And feeling that length in the backs of the legs. And send the feet forward. Inhaling for flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, reaching up high, getting taller. And exhale to a tall mountain. Number 2, inhale, arms go up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for flat back. Exhale, down, heading back to plank. And lower, chaturanga. Inhale, up. And exhale, downward facing dog. Few deep breaths. Sending the feet forward. Inhale for flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, reaching up high, getting taller. Exhale to a tall mountain. Just one more of A. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for flat back. Exhale down, back through plank, and lower chaturanga. Inhale up. And exhale, downward facing dog. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Send the feet forward, inhaling for flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. And exhale to a tall mountain. Here we go. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for flat back. Exhale down, back to plank, and lower chaturanga. Inhale up. And exhale, downward dog. From here, preparing for Virabhadrasana, 1 warrior, 1, step the right foot forward, the back heel spins down to the ground, come on up. So this might not be a very long stance, especially if you're not quite warmed up yet. So mine's not super long. Knees right over the ankle, but notice I'm not quite at a 90-degree angle yet because I do feel a bit of a stretch in that back hip. Drawing the front hip back, feeling a bit of a stretch, and breathing deep. It's already 4. And 5. Opening up to Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. So again, maybe not a very long stance just yet. Heel to arch alignment, breathing deep. And we're already at about 2. So this time feeling a bit of a stretch here as we don't want to lean forward. This is what we tend to do to shy away from the stretch of the back hip, but we want to press that back hip down so it's level with the front hip. From here, moving into Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. So either right forearm to the thigh or the right arm can go down to the ground, whichever you prefer. I'm still not feeling super warm, so I'm doing this variation. If you want to put that right hand on the floor on the outside of your front foot, you can do that variation. That's already 4. And 5, coming back up, preparing for Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. Stepping the stance in a little bit, arms up to a T, reaching, 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 placing a hand on the shin. Top arm, if it doesn't feel so super on the shoulder, you can just bring it behind your back. Otherwise, straight up high to the sky. And anatomically, If it's okay on the neck, you can look up. Otherwise, looking down is a little bit easier. But that thumb is right above the mouth. Even if you're looking down, it's right above the mouth. And as you know, I love triangle pose, so I generally take a little bit longer here. And especially if you have some good weight into that bottom arm, it feels like more of a stretch than a strength posture. And it feels just amazing. To come out, belly scoops in, coming all the way up. We windmill down through lunge, either stepping back to child's pose, downward dog, or extra challenge, full vinyasa, back through plank, lowering chaturanga. Inhale up, and exhale, downward facing dog. Other side, left foot steps forward, back heel spins down, we come on up. So same thing again, not necessarily a super wide stance if you're not quite warmed up yet, but do try to draw that left hip back, and almost like you're trying to tuck the tailbone under, back leg stays straight, feeling that stretch in the right hip. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Opening up, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Same thing again, maybe not a very long stance this time, but do try to feel that back hip stretch. As the hips are level, you can even look down at the hips to be sure they are level. Breathing deep. It's already 2, 3, 4, and 5. We inhale to lengthen. Exhale, extended side angle. Hips are low. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Coming back up, shortening the stance for Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. Reaching, 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 and then place that left hand onto the shin. Right thumb right above the mouth. Slow, deep breathing. And belly scoops in to come all the way up, remembering your options. And for that extra challenge, taking a full vinyasa, back through plank, lowering chaturanga. Inhaling up. And exhale, downward facing dog. Repeating that sequence again, perhaps going a little bit deeper. So right foot steps forward behind the right wrist, back heel spins down to the ground and come on up. So I've got a bit longer stance. I'm feeling a little bit more warm. Right hip draws back, feeling a bit more stretch on that left hip. When I say feel a bit more stretch, actually it feels the same. It's just my edge has moved. So it is stretching more, but it doesn't feel more. Opening up, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. A little bit wider stance as I'm a little bit warmer. Breathing deep. And extended side angle. So hand to the floor perhaps, or maybe you'd even like to bind. Maybe if you're lucky, you get a little shoulder crack. Whatever variation we're in, we're opening up the heart to the sky. And come on up, preparing for a triangle. So we step it in a little bit. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Tipping, tipping, tipping. Breathing deep. Maybe going a little bit further into that Trikonasana, maybe not. And belly scoops in, come on all the way up. Remembering your options, heading down through lunge. And if you're looking for extra challenge, take a full vinyasa back through plank. Lowering chaturanga. Inhale up. And exhale, downward facing dog. Other side, left foot steps forward, back heel spins down. Maybe just a touch longer stance to match the first side. Doubling down, this is my left side, go, on squaring those hips. And you can see my back is arching a little bit. Try not to do that. So it will probably ever so slightly, but try not to. Keeping the low ribs in. There, kind of pulled it together there a little bit. And you'll notice if you do tuck the tailbone under to get neutral pelvis. So we're thinking posterior tilt to achieve neutral. And that increases the stretch on that back hip. Opening up, warrior two. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, bending deep. And preparing for Parsvakonasana, side angle. Same variation as the first side. And opening up the heart to the sky. And coming back up, preparing for triangle. So the stance is usually a bit too long. And reaching, reaching, reaching. Tipping, tipping, tipping. And come on up. Windmill down through lunge. Remembering your choices. For extra challenge, full vinyasa, back through plank. Lowering chaturanga. Inhaling up. And exhale, downward facing dog. And if you're skipping all of the vinyasas, don't worry at all, right? Remember, right when we did the very first day of this challenge, we made a promise to ourselves not to push anything too much. And send the feet forward. Inhaling for flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, reaching up high. And exhale to a tall mountain. The next one is interesting. I don't think we've done this one before in this challenge. But what we do is pull up the pants. You know, it's a fun one when I hike up my yoga pants. So standing with the feet parallel. So I like to have mine all the way together, just like Tadasana mountain pose. And then I'm going to start the timer. We raise up onto the balls of the feet and drop down. So you kind of like shake, feel things jiggle. That's what you're supposed to do. Once again, we rise up and whoa. Keep going. So not too hard, but enough of a thunk that you feel a bit of jiggle. Why, Carla? That's really weird, you might ask. Well, it's helping our lymphatic system. So this class, we're heading into a bit of cardio. Not usually a lot of cardio in yoga, except for this particular style is known as Kundalini. It's Kundalini inspired, and that's more cardio. So that's our like running on the spot, this type of an exercise. So again, yoga does make you stronger, but it's supposed to make you healthier. The other reason why I like this one is that it's one of the only exercises in yoga for the calves and the ankles. Keep going. You can slow down if you need to. But this is really good for injury reduction as well. So if you play soccer at all, or if you wear high heels, you don't want to roll over on your ankle. Having strong ankles can help prevent that. Keep going. And if you are a ballet dancer and you're like, do I go all the way up onto demi-pointe, Carla? Not necessarily. You can, but the idea is mostly just a little bit up, enough that you can drop. And it's really good to help our immune system as we go into the fall. I'm a really big fan of naturally getting the immune system stronger, you know? And this is one of those ways. We're in the home stretch. If you're like, all sorts of things are on fire, Carla, that's great. I can even feel like my glutes working. My inner thighs are even working. How's that a thing? But it is. The whole backs of my legs are working like crazy. Keep going. Almost done. All the sand's in that little bit at the bottom there, so it's almost done. Or salt or whatever that is there. Almost done. And we're done. Yay. Little vinyasa if you want, or just wait. Give yourself a second if you need. But I do recommend a little vinyasa because then we get to hang out in downward dog for a moment, which is a good stretch up for the calves. So we're forward folding. Inhale for flat back. Exhale down, heading back to plank. Lowering chaturanga. Inhale up. And exhale, downward dog. So this is nice to stretch out those calves after we just worked them. And send the feet forward. Inhaling for flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up, reaching up high, getting taller. And exhale to a tall mountain. For this next one, a little bit of cardio, and it's a fun one. Flip over our timer. I don't know if I have enough room here. It's going to work. So we go. 4 little hops, out, 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 out. So out, 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 out. And then 4 little hops back in. In, in. And we repeat. If you're like, I'm not into your super high impact yoga, Carla, you can just go step, 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 step. Step, 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 step. Other foot. Okay? We're not trying to be super high impact. Just little. In, out, 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 in. Keep going. If you have the room, you can bring your arms out to the side. I don't have that room. So you just get rid of them. Keep them by your sides. Keep going. If you're over 40 like me, and you're like, wow, I haven't really jumped a lot. recently, you may choose to pull your belly in more and pull the pelvic floor up because reasons. Keep going. And if you're feeling your calves, that's because we just did another calf one. So yay, you're doing it right. You're feeling it a lot. Keep going. We're almost on the strength bits, actually, so kind of sad. Trying to rally now because it's almost done. In the home stretch. And you're done. Just heading into just a few marches. Just to keep the blood flowing. It'll feel so much easier than what we just did. If you're like really ambitious and you're like, that was amazing, I don't feel like I'm done yet, you can run on the spot if you want to right now. Not me. I'm going to march on the spot and do weird things with my hands for some reason. Don't know what to do with my hands. And slowing it down. Heading back into a vinyasa, up at the top of your mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, down. Back through plank. And lower. Inhale up. And exhale, downward dog. Few deep breaths. Oh yeah, feel that stretch in the calves. From here, lowering all the way to seated, but you might want some extra cushioning for your seated position. For this next one is also for the lymphatic system. Stepping the feet out, let's see, like just toss them out to the sides. And then all we're doing is procrastinating for a sec. Here we go. This one's actually a lot of fun, but it's very strange. So you place your hands on the floor and you lift your hips up off the floor and then lower. And again. So just like we did our calf raises, you don't have to get like way high off the floor, just a little bit. And you want that, like that, jarring a little bit, not too much, obviously. But hence the cushion beneath the tushy. Just keep going. It just gets the lymphatic system going. Also the shoulders. But that's not like my sneaky trick to get you using shoulders. I swear. It's just what we're doing. Keep going. Okay. So either just wait for a second or head into down dog or child's pose, or for that extra challenge, heading back through plank, lowering chaturanga, inhaling up, and exhale, downward facing dog. From here, oops, I left my timer up here. Okay. From here, three-legged down dog, right leg goes high to the sky. And then, oof, what we do is like push-ups in a three-legged down dog position. It's really awkward and weird, but you just go little dip, and again, keep going. It's really strange and weird, but super fun. Keep going. And release to down dog, release to child's pose. Few deep breaths. If you're like, that was the most awkward thing ever, then you're probably doing it right. And other side, ready? Here we go. Hips go up and back. Left leg goes up. Here we go. Little push-ups. So you'll notice the elbows do go out to the sides, but the whole palm remains on the floor. This is our last strength thing. And release. And all the way to child's pose. Oh, that's a good one. And just a bonus that it's fun too. Okay, now we get to cool down a little bit. If you have a block and your arms are not the longest, it's nice to use a block. I'll show you why. We start in the Dandasana staff pose, preparing for Marichyasana C. If you have long arms, don't worry about the block. You will not need it. But lifting up nice and tall, right hand behind you, and I'll just switch this way so you can see. My arm is not super long, so if my hand is flat, I'm not perpendicular at all. So I like to use a block so that I can be completely upright. Arm crossing over. Here we go. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, opening up. One more inhale to lengthen here. Exhale, unraveling, unwinding. Back to Dandasana staff pose. And between sides, just a little Paschimottanasana forward fold. So we inhale to lengthen. Make sure you're not pulling the flesh away. That can be dangerous on the hamstrings, tendons. So Be sure that you're completely square on the flesh beneath the sitting bones. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. And come on up. Preparing for the other side, Vinyasa C. Bend the left leg this time. Lifting up nice and tall. Left arm behind. Right arm crossing over. Or hugging if it's not available to cross over. Inhaling. Lifting up tall. On the exhale, opening up the heart to the side wall. Eventually towards the back wall. Not that that's a goal, just for trajectory purposes. There is a tendency to kind of hunch in this one. So instead of twisting, I almost think of like my heart lifting up to the sky towards the back wall. So I try to think of, instead of a twist, I'm like turning and up. Like it's a twist and up movement. One more inhale to lengthen. Exhale, unraveling, unwinding. One more Paschimottanasana. So once again, being sure that we're equally on the flesh. And forward fold. And from here, we'll lay all the way onto our backs, preparing for Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow pose. So as always, if you don't feel comfortable doing this without a yoga instructor in your presence, that's totally acceptable. You can do bridge pose instead, where you keep the shoulders on the floor. So you can go ahead into bridge if that's what you're doing for today's practice. And if you're going for Urdhva Dhanurasana, the feet are slightly wider than hips width apart, maybe even mat width for extra stability. Hands are beneath the shoulders, not the neck. From here, pressing up to the top of the head and pausing for a moment. And when you feel ready, pressing all the way up. Breathing deep. And slowly, slowly release. When you feel ready, hug your knees into your chest and gently rocking from side to side. And we'll repeat. So either repeat bridge pose or Urdhva Dhanurasana. Or if you did Urdhva Dhanurasana last time and you're like, nope, my arms don't have any more, then you can switch it up to bridge pose. Otherwise, planting the feet, planting the hands, and when you're ready, pressing up to the top of the head. Couple deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, pressing up. And slowly, slowly, lowering all the way down. Take a moment. When you're ready, hug the knees in and gently rock from side to side. And from here, preparing for twisted roots. Nothing to see here. My time, head over there. So we'll bend the knees, right leg crosses all the way over the left. Hips shift to the right as the legs move to the left. Both shoulders on the floor to be sure we're twisting in the mid-back. And scoop the belly in, press the low back into the floor, unraveling, unwinding, and between sides, hug the knees into your chest. A little extra squeeze to release the back. Maybe a little rock from side to side. And then preparing for the other side, left leg crosses all the way over the right. Hips shift to the right as the knees move over to the left. And scoop the belly in. Press the low back into the floor. Unraveling, unwinding. Hug the knees into your chest and gently rock from side to side. And then preparing for Halasana plow pose. So remember, if this is one that you don't feel comfortable with doing without a yoga instructor present, totally fine. Feel free to do legs up the wall pose. So just scooch over to a wall. And whenever you're ready, bring the legs up the wall. And when you are ready, I'm looking for a timer. This is one of the ones where I have a timer to save you because it's such a wonderful pose. I would just stay there all day. Unlike like lunges or something, like I would die. So no danger there if I'm joining you. For Halasana, I like to have a blanket beneath my spine. And when you're ready, heading all the way up and back. Remember not to use too much momentum. Really not at all. Very little. And you can use the hands against the low ribs. We'll say yogi's choice in this one. If you like to go into Karnapidasana from here, feel free. That's bending the knees and lowering them down towards the floor by the ears. Last few moments. And when you're ready, slowly lowering. Use your arms as landing gear. And then hold the spine in neutral position for a few moments. Just let the back relax after that really intense, wonderful stretch. And from here, heading into Uttana Padasana prep, or some people call this fish pose, but if you were to do fish, it would be like crossing your legs. So you could do that if you wanted to try. Just cross your legs from here. Arms along your sides, palms facing down, and then pressing up into the forearms and leaning the head back. Breathing deep. Oh, my blanket's slippery. That wasn't smart. Next time, moving the blanket. And release. Whew, extra strength to not slip away from my blankie. One last time, hugging both knees into your chest. A little extra squeeze. And then releasing all the way into your Shavasana, final resting pose. Oh, really well-deserved one after all our cardio in yoga today. So laying all the way back onto your backs. If you need any extra support in the back at all today, keep those knees bent with the feet on the floor. Otherwise, extending the legs, arms along your sides, palms facing up, and closing the eyes. Softening everything. But especially through the neck and the shoulders, and all the way down the arms. Letting the fingers softly curl. Softening through the face. Softening around the eyes. And even the muscle between the eyes. Just letting it all go. And starting to come back. Wiggling the fingers and the toes. And gently roll your head from side to side. And reaching your arms above head on the floor, give yourself a big stretch, feeling totally refreshed. And bending the knees in one at a time. Gently roll over to the right side and pause there for a few moments. And slowly start to press yourself all the way up to a comfortable seated position, taking all the time you need. And when you arrive, palms facing up on the knees. Inhale, sitting up tall. And exhale, softly close the eyes. Taking those final moments to think back to your intention that you set before class today. Letting yourself know you're one step closer. And as we sometimes do, taking a little moment of silence, a little extra thought for someone who might need it today. And slowly open the eyes. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a really, really good rest of your day. Try to have some extra water today. We did a lot of, anytime you do a lot of like twisting forwards and backwards, right around where the kidneys are, it gets them nice and toned and flushed out. So extra water will help that detoxification process. All right. See you next time. Namaste.